Deep down, you are eternal. Deep down, you are constantly enfolded by God. And that cannot move away from your mind. And God cannot reject you. He can do anything in the world. He is omnipotent. But in this area, his omnipotency doesn't work. The sun cannot reject its reflection. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Relations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita in chapter 4, verse number 39. The name of the chapter is Jnana Vibhaga Yoga. That means performance of action leading to knowledge, jnana. In the previous verse, some important points were brought out. Simple points. Firstly, what's the goal? The goal is to attain jnana. Jnana means wisdom, enlightenment. Term jnana has two aspects, paroksha and aparoksha. Intellectual knowledge is not jnana, but it's needed. Intuitional knowledge is jnana. But again, when we speak of intuition, you have to understand, we are not using intuition in ordinary way. Otherwise, you see a friend and immediately say, oh, you ate cauliflower. And the person says, what intuition? I'm making a joke up to. So when we speak of intuition, we are not speaking that way. It's intellect becomes transformed into intuitive intellect, jnana drishti, the vision of enlightenment. So the question arises, what is the nature of that revelation? Everything you attain in the world, there is a causation involved. You do certain things in order to attain it. When you attain it, you become better than before. But spiritual attainment is a revelation. Like if clouds move away, the sun shines by itself. All your movement in life is to remove the cloud of ignorance. And so therefore the goal shines forth by itself. So that's the first point. What's the nature of revelation? It's a spontaneous, self-effulgent. What is the sadhana that will lead you to that attainment? Yoga sadhana. Practice of integral yoga in your daily life. Turn your action, activities as karma yoga. No matter whatever type of activity you are involved in, it is not out of place. If you are a spiritual aspirant, the idea that I should drop all this activity and become immersed in devotion to God. Go away somewhere in Himalaya, somewhere in a cave. That idea comes very simply in the mind of a person. But there is a tremendous error in that idea. If you take it literally, you will never attain enlightenment. Because literally means you are always thinking of world is against you and you have to run away from you. You will find some satisfaction to run away from the crowd, go into a cave far away from normal relations that you are involved in. And for a while you may become quite peaceful. But that is not liberation. That is not your spiritual progress. That gives you some possibility to intensify your sadhana. But that in itself is not the goal, because the moment there is a possibility of coming in conjunction with people around, your mind will again begin to work along ego, pride. You always look at people as inferior because you have been for several months in a cave, and these people have been indulging in the world process. And even while in the cave, I'm just making elaboration of illusion, you become attached. If a monkey is to come and look into you expect the monkey to come. Even the squirrels, you long for hearing the tweets and twitters of birds. I'm taking humorously along, but the idea is that physically moving away from the world, that's not the goal. Every soul is involved in a world of activity. From the very time you are born, you are involved in a pravaha patita karma. Karmic process flows on like a river. And you have been a fish born in the river. People think fishes are the only fish. All souls are fishes, already caught in a stream of karma. Now, therefore, do not view karma as contrary to your spiritual movement. View your karma as a great opportunity given by God. The manner in which you handle your day-to-day life realities, that's a tremendous impact upon your internal spiritual progress. If you abruptly move away from activity, you must realize that puts greater stress on your mind, unless you are extremely dull. Empty mind becomes devil's workshop. Whenever you have the curiosity to know how does the devil's workshop looks like. Just do nothing. Just stay in your room. So, turning action into yoga, karma yoga. Your sentiments are always with you. How can you develop qualitative sentiment? Love that inspires you, inspires others. Love that does not degenerate into moha. Moha means holding on, pulling the legs. All those I've elaborated before. So, turning your emotions into qualitative expressions, love, compassion, humility, and all that comes under the umbrella of bhakti yoga. Love of God is the inspiring source of developing quality of your sentiments. And sentiments constitute a profounder aspect of your life. Anyone living with a heart that is dry, life is completely shallow, barren, desert. That therefore allow your feeling to move along the path of bhakti yoga. The next point, will aspect of your personality. So mind is always trying to create a will. And will requires focus of mind, concentration. Relating to will, we have Raja Yoga, the path of concentration, meditation, samadhi. So how to give your mind that exercise day by day to stay concentrated, one-pointed, and go on training your mind. The mind doesn't like that. But you tell your mind, when you are in deep sleep, mind was just left to itself. Everything in the world goes on happening. In deep sleep, you are not worried about it. If you are worried about it, then you are not sleeping. So therefore, how can you capture that peace, unruffled state that you enjoy in deep sleep? How can you capture it while you are awake? That's a big challenge in life. Sleep is going too easily. Why can't you get into that peaceful state of sleep without stretching on the bed, even while busy with various activities? That ideal has to be kept before your mind. That's the path of Dhyana Yoga. You are training your will to switch your attention from the waking to deep sleep, from distraction to peace. And then your intellect, constantly thinking, reflecting. The deepest urge within your intellect, through your intellect, is, who am I? I am is the greatest question that your intellect has to resolve. Otherwise, your intellect goes on working for Satchidananda. You want to exist. You want to know. You want to be happy. And the intellect is constantly working along these lines, but working in the wrong way. To exist to the masses means to have a long, long life. To know everything means to have the best of scientific progress, best of technology, stars that were not easy to study, and you put that technology before you and you start knowing those stars. I'm making a joke. It's not a joke for the masses, it's a powerful revelation. When they talk about certain star and what it does, the mind begins to flutter. You realize that that revelation is just a little tiny dust particle in the cosmos. So, allow the intellect not to stay distracted by all these little things that you have to know. but go after who am I, a profound understanding, insight. In that process, your intellect undergoes a change. That's called Jnana Yoga. And Jnana Yoga you promote by satsanga, the study of scriptures, practice of reflection. All these four yogas, when you put that in daily life, they come to you in a spontaneous way. In the beginning, you give a special attention. But once you have harmonized yourself in daily life, your rhythmic style of life is easy to live. Abrupt style of life is not easy. If you have a time to sleep, time to wake up, time for a walk, time for eating, time for your bhajan, time for your exercises, all little, but harmonized. You do them all and you say, I didn't do much sadhana. But you are doing more effective sadhana than you can imagine. That's called integral yoga. So that is the sadhana that will lead you to realization, integral yoga. Now the question arises, how long? When will I attain liberation? If I start integral sadhana. The fact is, if you are living with a harmonized way in a rhythmic pattern, everyday life to you is smooth, joyous, insightful, inspirational. Where is the rush? The question of will doesn't arise in the mind. But if at all answer is needed, it should be persistent until you attain liberation. Time should not be placed before your mind, a time limit. That 6 months, okay, after that I will give up. And the last question, where will it all happen? In a pilgrimage center, in Badri Kedar, in a temple, or in an ashram? No, within your heart. Within your very chitta, the mind process. In 39th verse, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatparah sanjatendriya jnanam labdva param shantim achirenadi gacchati. One who is filled with faith, devoted to the pursuits of knowledge, and endowed with self-control, attains wisdom. Having attained it, he hastens to everlasting peace. Now these subtle points have to be well grasped. Shraddhavan. Focus your attention on Shraddha, faith. There is a simple, instinctive faith in every heart, but that in itself is not vibrant. It's something there, it needs to be awakened. It's like the faith present in Ramayana as Ahalya's rock. Rama's footprint comes and the rock becomes alive. Faith in human heart is like that, frozen. A little touch of satsanga, a little devotion, a little of yoga sadhana, and that faith begins to wake up. Awakening of faith within you is a powerful development. Tat parah Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tat parah sanjatendriya. Tat parah means now ever devoted to the pursuit of knowledge. As Shraddha wakes up, you are like a person who is awake to the purpose for which you are living. That sense of awakening goes on growing more and more. All depends about the intensity of Shraddha. And that leads you to control of mind and senses. Without the taste of Shraddha within your heart, controlling the mind and senses will be always strenuous and will not be spontaneous. But when Shraddha develops within you, difficult things can be accomplished by you easily. Having attained it, he hastens to everlasting peace. Now, led by Shraddha and spiritual awakening within yourself, you involve yourself in two types of practice, Abhyasa and Vairagya. In the Gita, later the question is raised by Arjuna. Mind is so distracted. How can the mind be controlled? And Krishna says, Abhyasa and Vairagya. Persistent effort. And Vairagya, moving away from anything that distracts you from your goal. And broader way, Vairagya means always you're in your mind. See things in the light of your intellect, purified intellect. What does that imply? If your mind is healthy, if you are strong to allow the truth to shine through your mind, then your mind tells you the entire world is transient. So, do not allow yourself to be rattled. If things suddenly move away, a living person suddenly exits, dies. Not one person, sometimes hundreds, sometimes in thousands. And it goes on day by day. It's not once in a blue moon. It goes on always, day by day. Not a single day is without these happenings. How can you allow your mind to be restful in a world of this type? Allow your intellect to understand that this is the nature of you. And your goal is not to be confined to the world. To be confined to the world forever is the greatest curse you can ever hear. Imagine going on growing 150 years, 200 years. Hands don't work, feet don't work. Everywhere you are wired. But your money in the bank is increasing. This way of thinking is dull with the intellect. Intellect extremely dull. Don't live with a dull intellect. There can be no greater enemy that you live with other than this intellect that is dull. So sharpen your intellect day by day. Peace. satsanga, with persistence, and allow sadhana, japa, meditation, integral yoga continue in your life, so that the intellect does not stay dull. Otherwise, dull intellect simply follows the ego, rajasic, tamasic ego. Your movement becomes demoniac, asuri, unpleasant for yourself, unpleasant for the other world. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam, tatpara sanjatendriya. So I was talking about Abhyasa and Vairagya. Abhyasa means repeated. Satu dirghakal nirantaryam, satkar sevito. This Rajayoga defines Abhyasa. Practice of sadhana. How long should you do? The practice should be long time. In other words, don't put a limit of time. Second point, it shouldn't be off and on. 5 days you did a lot of meditation. And then suddenly you left it. You went for vacation. Then again you catch up. Much in the same way as if you are taking medicines, you have to take it every day. And don't become clever. That if I take all 7 days medicine once, for all days I'm free. Mathematically, you have taken all the medicine. But practically, you have done harm to yourself. Amazing. Same thing applies in sadhana. If you give to your mind, I'm going to practice japa all this day. And then what happens? For many days you won't even take the name of japa. With the Nairantaryam, it should be unbroken practice, day by day. Satkar sevito. Third point, you should always feel joyous about your sadhana. Deep down, you should develop a sense of God gave me opportunity, am I utilizing my opportunity? The day lived with sadhana has been well lived. If you follow that, your abhyasa will yield a result, which is success in sadhana. But along with abhyasa, vairagya goes on developing. You are dependent on so many things, dependent on your body, dependent on people around you, dependent on objects of the senses. And your dependence has gone deep into your mind in the form of constant vishaya vasana, constant subtle involvement. But as you practice your sadhana, integral yoga with patience, Vairagya goes on developing. Just like a bird still in the egg, as maturity goes on developing, egg breaks. The bird emerges. But still the bird cannot fly. The mama bird goes on kicking it. So this breaking, kicking, flying is a Vairagya process. And Abhyasa and Vairagya, they are the secret of your success. Intense Abhyasa, intense Vairagya means quick attainment. If you want to elaborate further, Each one comes in three categories: mridu, madhyam, and intense. Mridu is mild, moderate, and intense. Your abhyasa can be mild. You want to do japa, quickly sit on your well, turn the beads, then move on. Moderate, you give more attention to it. Intense, your whole mind gets involved. Your abhyasa can be of three types: mild, moderate, intense. Vairagya can be of three types: mild, moderate, intense. Now, if you combine these two, you can figure out in mathematics. There are many sadhakas out of these combinations of 3 and 3, combination, permutation, countless sadhakas, they come under these abhyasa, vairagya, and different degrees that those 2 points have developed in them. All of them, therefore, could not qualify to attain the highest. It takes time. Those who have developed both abhyasa and vairagya to a high degree, the ultimate goal is spontaneous. The river has come close to the ocean, and it's just going to enter the ocean. In 40th verse, Agyascha Shraddhadhanascha Samshayatma Vinashyati Nayam Lokosti Naparo Na Sukham Samshayatmana. But one who is ignorant, devoid of Shraddha, and overcome by doubts, perishes. There is neither this world nor the other world, no happiness anywhere for the soul that has a doubting nature. If faith were to rise, were to be awakened, there will be a form of awakening in your soul. Your soul will discover Viveka Shakti, strength that shows you the difference between the self and the not self. As faith develops within you, begin to see deep down you are eternal. Deep down you are constantly enfolded by God. And that cannot move away from your mind. And if you work upon it, that you are constantly enfolded by God, and God cannot reject you. He can do anything in the world. He is omnipotent. But in this area, his omnipotency doesn't work. The sun cannot reject its reflection. Lacking faith implies you lack that sensitivity of vivek, that discriminative vision that shows that I am different from the body, mind, intellect. I'm different from the world of matter. I am related to God. That strength enters your heart. As that strength enters, asakti, attachment or dependence begins to diminish. There is kama sakti. You are attached to your desires. Vishaya sakti. You are attached to objects of pleasure. Moha sakti. You are attached to deluded infatuation. When these are increasing, your faith is diminished. And in a diminished state, faith in you is not real. That's what people call it, blind faith. And as Shraddha blossoms, your feeling of your heart gains a special quality. Shraddha based heart brings out the greatest quality of feeling, greatest quality of human love, love that turns towards a divine state. Because if you have profound Shraddha, your mind is not constantly under stress. You are not entertaining constantly fear, anger, hate, jealousy. You are not allowing yourself to be pressured by hina bhavana, degraded feeling about yourself. But you are constantly developing a sense of thrill, a joy that you are being handled by God. You are a baby in the arms of Divine Mother. And that inner relationship cannot be broken. Therefore, the possibilities in your life are beyond your imagination. But if you lack faith, then you have to sit by your dry intellect to resolve your problems. And your problems is just like a whole ocean. The project before you to empty the ocean. Now you have to calculate how much can you empty every day. How long will it take? People who have read about karmas, etc., they put question, how long will it take for me to get rid of these karmas? But if you have faith within you, you don't allow your mind to waste its time over how long, when. But God, who has fashioned you from toes to the head, without your being involved, that God will constantly do miracles for you. Samshaya bhavana, doubting mind, is contrary to faith. The moment you have faith, doubts dissolve. Faith diminishes, doubts arise because your intellect cannot solve the problem. And you are relying on your intellect. And just say to yourself, 2 plus 2 is 4. How can I expect 5 out of it? When there is samshaya, doubting process, faith and vivek both diminishes. Vivek is your insightful mind that sees, mind that allows jnana, wisdom to progress, mind that allows to see, I am different, the soul is different from body, mind, intellect. Now, just to elaborate further, lack of faith and increase of doubt, samshaya, they create bhranti in your mind. Bhranti is illusion. Sanskrit word viparita grahan. There is a rope, and you insist to call it a snake. Because you don't know any better. Something good is presented to you, your mind twists it, finds something totally different from what it is intended to be. Viparit grahan. Grahan means how do you accept things? With your hand, you hold it. With your mind and thought, you grasp it. The grasping aspect of your thought becomes defective. Great teachings come to your mind, but you have inability to hold the teachings. They become slippery, slip out of your fingers. Samshaya is that state where your mind is swinging between rope and snake. Is it a rope? Is it a snake? And it becomes more complex when you see half snake and half rope. In Hindi, it's a damadol sthiti, swinging state of mind. Yoga sanyasta karmanam jnana sanchinna sanshayam atmavantam na karmani nibadnanti dhananjaya. O conqueror of wealth, if one attains renunciation by the practice of yoga, he dispels all doubts, all samshayas, by wisdom. When samshaya is not there, doubts are not there, and faith has blossomed, wisdom becomes a direct realization. Thereby he becomes established in the self. He is never bound by karmas. That's mukti, liberation. Tasmat adhyana sambhutam hritam Jnana-Asi atmana chitvainam sanshayam yogam atishthotishta bharata. Therefore, O Bharata, O Arjuna, use the sword of wisdom to destroy this doubt, which is born of ignorance, even within your own heart, and arise for the pursuit of yoga. As long as Samshaya Bhavana is there, the doubts, and the faith is sleeping or frozen, you are not awake, you are being led from dream to dream. But as you allow the faith to become strong, you must realize faith is not blind beliefs. It is something instinctive. And as your heart becomes purified, that faith blossoms, grows. The awakening of faith enriches you in a spiritual way, in a profound way. And it's on the basis of that, your intellect becomes subtle and sharp, like a sword, all this figurative. The idea is all the difficult points that your mind cannot understand, the webs of illusion that grip your mind, they are removed by this sword of subtle intellect. So use the sword of wisdom to destroy this doubt, which is born of ignorance. As you do, you wake up. Just like from a terrible dream, you wake up and this perfect relief comes. How did you wake up? Mysterious. In the same way, you live and move, do so many things, but you are in slumber, gripped by ignorance. Tremendous resources are there with you, you don't know them. Faith has become frozen. Intellect has become dull. This is to be put into more precise language. You need three things to happen. Manonash, mind to be destroyed. That is, develop a mind that doesn't create attachment and hatred. Vasanakshaya. Allow your subconscious desires to move away. And tattva jnana, knowledge of the self. All these three processes occur. If they are occurring, you are arising, you are awake. A wakeful life is a spiritual life. Not only you are awake, but you can't let anybody sleep. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Supadishats Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastri Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Jnana Vibhaga Yogo Nama Chaturtho Dhyayah. That's in the Upanishad of the Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, the scripture of yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna. And it's the fourth chapter entitled The Yoga of Wisdom. And it is customary to read the second chapter, at least the first verse. Sannyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha shansasi yachrevayeta yorekam tanme bruhsi nishtitam. The next chapter is known as Karma Sannyasa Yoga, where insight is being given into what is sannyasa and what's the role of karma yoga. In which way are the two different? In fact, they are not different. And with this I conclude. Om Shanti. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.